Thank you. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. The first time that I was invited to be the keynote speaker in 2010, I told many of you in this room that the blade show was illegal under Atlanta City Ordinance. And in 2013, the state of Georgia not only passed preemption, ending the prohibitions in Atlanta, but legalized all knives. Maybe the Waverly will forgive me. I was told that after my keynote address in 2010, over 100 people questioned the staff if we were really in Atlanta. And when they found out they were, well, I don't think the Waverly was too happy with me over that many people questioning the staff, so maybe they'll forgive me now. What I didn't know then, though, and what I am happy to say, very happy to say now, is that I've had the privilege and the honor to get to know some of the most amazing people involved in the knife industry. You are a unique group of people, and I have thoroughly enjoyed being invited and accepted into your family. Some of the people in this room are also slightly partially to blame for my new addiction. But thankfully, I do have a forgiving husband, except for when he thinks it's his turn to buy a new tool, or a work of art, or perhaps in my case, a new accessory. My knives really do match my outfits. I will say he does seem to enjoy chatting with the guys about the latest knife or gun event that I have, quote, dragged him to. But most of the blame goes to two things: the knife that bit me on the rescue call, and Evan Knappen for showing me the New Hampshire law that prohibited me from buying the tool that I wanted. It still amazes me how New Hampshire lit the spark that ignited across our great country, causing state after state to change their laws. And I'm very proud to say that the first national firearms organization to support our efforts in New Hampshire was the Second Amendment Sisters. It was the hard work and the dedication of New Hampshire businesses and voters that made all the difference, including one particular businessman who did something I don't recommend everyone else do. He brought to the New Hampshire State House illegal contraband. He brought a manual opener, an assisted opener, and the dreaded switchblade, and then proceeded to show them how easy it was to open all three at approximately the same speed and explain to them that the difference was technology. Tools with different technology. This further emphasized that laws shouldn't be on objects. Since New Hampshire, about 7 states have passed preemption law. Knife Rights published a list showing that since New Hampshire started the path of liberty, 13 pro-knife bills have passed. 7 states have repealed their bans, and many anti-knife bills have been defeated. We must, especially in the political times that we live in, pay close attention to our states and especially the federal government. So many still have this bizarre fear of an object, a tool, a work of art, and neglect the real dangers that are around them, the criminal elements that are among us. No law or regulation will ever rid us of crime, and demonizing our tools is the wrong course of action. This isn't the 1950s. And as my friend Jeff Knox said, the Jets and the Sharks, well, they're in their 80s now. The emphasis of law should always be on the criminal act and not the inanimate object. There are ongoing talks by many in this room, such as the American Knife and Tool Institute, who have been actively working with the TSA and the International Civil Aviation Organization to help them understand the difference between criminals and tools. I hope that all of you are paying attention and encouraging others to do the same. There must be active, thoughtful discussions, especially with your elected officials in DC. If you are silent, then that silence is misunderstood by those officials who are elected, and they take that to mean that you agree with their restrictions on our tools. Another issue that faces the knife industry is counterfeiting. We have all seen the hard work, dedication, and imagination of our friends and family stolen and knockoffs made and sold as if they were the real thing. I am sure many people have realized too late they were the victim of fraud and their money was long gone. This issue is also being addressed by AgKey tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., and many of you have received the invitation. You owe it to yourself, to your craft, to spare that brief moment and to learn and discuss effective ways of dealing with theft of your intellectual property. I worked on intellectual property laws in New Hampshire with the J.D. Salinger family, and I understand how hurtful it can be to see your hard work, blood, sweat, and tears dismissed by the actions of others who lay claim to the fruit of your labor. In the June magazine issue of Blade magazine, I wrote about my experience with the New Hampshire Auto Dealers Association. Many of you are business owners and know the value of a new market. There are automobile dealer associations in every single state in the United States, and most of them act as the primary purchasing agents for all of the dealers in their states. The right product at the right price with XYZ Auto's logo on it, secured to a seatbelt or a visor, keeps your product out there and their logo visible. I can tell you almost every major dealership owner told me they had never thought of a seatbelt cutter and what a great tool that would be for them instead of tiny little ice scrapers or free air fresheners. Now, at the time, I lacked the information needed to close the deal. You know your products. You know your price points. You know what you could do with their logos. The auto industry has not met the knife industry, and that can enhance the safety of their vehicles. All of us could change that with our own efforts. Imagine just one life saved in an accident because of a tool the dealer gave instead of the ice scraper. The press as well, it's worth it. The life saved, priceless. They said we couldn't pass repeal laws, and we did. What started in New Hampshire was not an anomaly, but the quest for liberty that has spread across the country. The issue facing us at the federal level and the idea of reaching outside the box to find new pathways in business, with the auto industry, for example, are the small sparks that are needed now. What could you do to help ignite the next firestorm? Thank you.